Hello, welcome to Kidscrafts with Whitchurch Silk Mill. Today we will be weaving our own paper plate flower. You need a paper plate, some yarn, some scissors, and maybe, although it's not necessary, some masking tape or a yarn needle. So what we need to do first is make the petals. So you might need help from a grown-up with this, because what we're going to do is we're just going to cut some petals into our paper plate. Now you might want to draw them in pencil first, but I'm just showing you quickly how to do it. So I'm just going to cut it freehand. And it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, you know, flowers are not perfect. They have wonky petals, they might have some petals that look different than the others, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Because this is going to be a type of weaving, we do need to make sure that we have an odd number of petals. Now that is very, very important, because if we don't have an odd number of petals, then we aren't going to be able to weave properly. We need an odd number, otherwise our weave we only get half a weave, so it is very important that we make sure that we have an odd number. So I just need to check how many I've got now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 11. I'm going to have a bit of a gap there, but it's, as I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Next, what you need to do is just make some little cuts down here, because we're basically going to make our own loom on this paper plate. So loom is what helps us do our weaving. And then what we need is a hole right in the centre. So definitely get an adult to help you with this. They might want to use a pen or a pencil to make a hole, or they might use a pair of scissors just to pierce a hole. But do be very careful with that, because you don't want to hurt your fingers. So it's probably best an adult helps you with that. And then you just need some yarn, and you need to poke it through the hole. Use a pen, or if you have a yarn needle, that will help. I'm going to use a yarn needle. And then turn it over, because what you need to do is then, whoops, feed the yarn through each of the little slits that we made. I'm just tying it off so that it doesn't all slide about. But I will be going in each of the slits and then into the hole in the middle. So I'm just going to cut a length of yarn to help me do that. Probably cut too much, but we'll see. What you're doing is just going in through the slit and then feeding the yarn through the hole. Okay, so I clearly had far too much yarn. I just need to tie that off now. I've done all the slits. Cut that off. And there we go, we've created our loom. So now it's to start weaving. Now you can use whatever colour you want. It's your flower. You might want to do your favourite flower. Like for instance myself, I'm going to do a sunflower. They're my favourite flower. So I'm just going to start off here. I'm going to tie on my piece, my sunflower, so I want a nice orange centre, and then I'm going to use yellow to do the outside. You might decide that actually you want a pink flower and you want the yellow for the middle. It's entirely up to you. You can create your own special flower, or make one that is your favourite. So we've tied on, so we now need to weave. So weaving, I'm already on the outside of this one, so I want to go underneath the next one. And then over for this one, and then under this one. So just go around. This can be a bit tricky because you'll be trying not to catch on the petals as you go around. So just take your time, there's no need to rush. Just going over and under. Okay, and then just carry on going basically. Now I've pulled mine a little bit too tight there, so it's right. So, oh, I've made a mistake there. I think. No, I haven't. So you just keep going round until you're happy. And you can change colour at any point. So it doesn't have to be when I change colour, you can change whenever you like. Don't pull it too tightly or you will find that your flower bunches, or you might even find that you start pulling on the plate a bit too much. So do be careful. You do need a certain level of tightness to keep that nice weave pattern showing, but you don't want it to be too tight or too loose. So just practice. If you think it's a little bit too tight, take it out and start again. Now I think I'm about ready to change my colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie off here, or cut off here I should say. I'll cut off that, and then I'm going to join some yellow on. So I'm just going to tie it to the last piece. And I'm going to trim the edges of from my knot here, just so I can make it a bit neater. And you just want to cut a length. It doesn't matter if you want it all in one colour, then you just cut bits at a time and then knot bits on as you get to it. I'm going to use a yarn needle because this is much thinner wool, so it's a little bit trickier to use, a bit more fiddly. Oh. And you want to continue the pattern. So, oh, I've gone a bit wrong somewhere. So I just want to make sure I'm going in and out, and I'm doing the opposite of what the row before was. So that I've gone under, so I want to go over, under, under. And you just keep going till you want to change colour again. Or you might want to carry on doing the same colour. So I'm going to show you one that I started earlier, which is a bit neater. So you can see I've got my centre here all nice and lovely. And I've used quite a lot of yellow because, as I said, I wanted to do a sunflower. So I'm just going to do a few more rows on this one. A few more rounds, as you'd say, round the plate. And use up my yarn. And then I will finish off. I'll show you how to finish off. Whoops. You may decide that you want to go all the way to the edges of the plate. If I had more time to show you, I probably would. It's entirely up to you because this is your project, your craft. And you can see, but by weaving and making sure you have the right number of slits, you hide all of your loom within that. If you can see these grey strips, then it probably means that you've either got an uneven amount of strings on your loom, or that whilst weaving you've missed one. So as you can see on this one that I've made, the grey strips are showing, so I've done something wrong there on this one. So I've either missed one of my ins or outs, or I've not counted properly with my slits. But this one I've done properly, so you can see it's nice and neat and you can't see it. So I'm just coming to the end of this one. So I'm just going to tie it off. So all you need to do is just tie it to one of the grey strips. I'm going to cut the end off and tuck the end in. You can sew the end in if you want. You could just sew it through and hide it that way. It's entirely up to you. And you may decide you want to do more decorations. So I think I might like to just colour in the petals along here. And there you go, a lovely woven paper plate flower.